There's so much hypocrisy here, my friend. So much hypocrisy that I don't even know where to start, but I will try. I will do the best that I can to let you know this. And it's best seen with these crazy people at MSDNC. They're so emblematic of what we're talking about right now, which is just incredible. You know, their collapse and the left's hypocrisy is something to behold. You know, there's a media meltdown over USAID firings, but no problem about giving pink slips to folks who are in MSDNC. They don't care about that. MSDNC, and call it for what it's worth, is imploding. They're shedding hosts left and right in a desperate attempt to stop the bleeding and the bloodletting, yet the same media elites, the same folks who are ruthlessly killing and axing and destroying their own failing staff and removing them and firing them, have the unmitigated audacity to cry foul over the Trump administration's much-needed purging and expurgation of waste at USAID. Does this make any sense to you? No. The hypocrisy is staggering. MSDNC, a network that has spent years propping up race baiters and racists and racial arsonists and real conspiracy theorists, the ones that are scary. Shameless propagandists like the late Joy Reid and Jonathan Capehart, that titmouse. They're now scrambling to stay afloat by cutting dead weight. They're doing exactly what they should do. But when President Trump applies the same principle to bloated, inefficient, and corrupt government agencies, well, they scream unfair job losses and authoritarianism, and you can't do that. Where was their concern for hardworking Americans when USAID was funneling billions, if not more, into these sketchy and dodgy and phony baloney foreign projects with no accountability? Where were their cries for justice when bureaucrats wasted taxpayer money on pet projects that benefited nobody but these weird globalist elites? The MSNBC house of cards is falling. It's delicious. And for years, my friends, MSDNC positioned itself as the mouthpiece of the Democratic Party. And they championed every leftist cause under the sun, no matter how out of touch with reality it was. They built their brand on Trump derangement syndrome, TDS, all the time, 24/7, screaming about collusion and fascism and Russian nonsense. And remember this? And democracy on the brink of collapse. And yet, despite all their fear-mongering and hysteria, they never managed to hold an audience. Never. Isn't that the idea of what they did? And Americans have tuned them out, and for good reason. Now the network is collapsing. Hosts are being fired, primetime slots are being reshuffled, and executives are scrambling to salvage whatever is left of viewership or credibility or whatever that they have. And Joy Reid was gone after years of punishing the audience by pushing this divisive racial narratives and openly demonizing half of the country, if not more so. And then these other names, Amon, I don't know who this is, Jonathan Capehart, Katie Fang, three more apparent leftist propagandists who spend more time pushing identity politics than actual journalism, they're also out. Why do you think that is? Well, one reason, believe it or not, might be because the USAID money is gone. It also might be because of the fact that nobody's watching this goddamn network. MSDNC thought their brand of smug elitism and partisan propaganda would somehow secure them an iron grip, on the news cycle. But instead, they managed to alienate even their own audience. Nobody was watching this. The network's ratings have plummeted. Viewership in the highly coveted 25-54 demographic hitting historic lows. They've lost nearly half their audience in just a few years. It's not supposed to work like that. MSDNC, the network that once thrived on pushing constant anti-Trump narratives and hysteria, is now facing an existential crisis. They bet their entire future on being the go-to source for radical left outrage and hate. And now that rage and hate subsided, they've got nothing left to show. Where's the product? Remember, these were the people who years ago were actually, they did better on their network by running old lockup prison docs than doing what they supposedly did best. While MSNBC purges its own failed hosts and executives, these miserable people, their allies in the media are really simultaneously trying to whip out outrage over President Trump's efforts to drain the swamp at USAID, and at the same time, they're trying to salvage their own corporate structure by getting rid of their dead weight. The same media that's now happily handing out pink slips to its own underperforming staff is suddenly deeply concerned about the government workers losing their jobs. Does this make any sense to you? Does it? They don't know what the hell they're doing. Which goes to show you this is representative of the entire group of people. The entire focus of this. Make no mistake, my friend. The firings at USAID are long overdue. And the agency has been notorious for reckless spending, corruption, and mismanagement for decades. Billions of taxpayer dollars, our dollars, have been wasted on these ill-conceived projects with little or no oversight. USAID funneled who knows how much untold sums into questionable foreign initiatives that do nothing to benefit American taxpayers, often propping up foreign bureaucrats, sketchy, weird programs, newspapers, blogs, media sites. We don't know where it went. NGOs with radical agendas. And causes that have absolutely no accountability. My friend, hypocrisy is their middle name. But the good news is that we're winning. We are winning. And we're winning thanks to, I know, the greatest president in my lifetime, Donald Trump. Do you agree with me? Does this make sense to you? Am I right? I want to hear what you think. Comment, my friend. Comment as you see fit.